you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
And we bring you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Billy Capistrano. In tonight's Game Plan, we'll discuss the dark horse players in the upcoming Premier Volleyball League 2022 Open Conference with Maddie Madayag and Michelle Cobb.
Then we'll look inside the training session of the Cignal HD Spikers ahead of the PVL opening for our latest edition of Bubble Invasion. And we'll list down the top players to watch in day one of the PBA Governors Cup playoffs. Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game.
The heart of volleyball is ready to come through as the Premier Volleyball League 2022 Open Conference opens tomorrow. With a lot of excitement for the upcoming volleyball action, DLSU standout Michelle Cobb and record holder of most kill blocks in a single game, Maddie Madayag, join us tonight. Ladies, welcome to the game. We are so excited for the upcoming PVL.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. All right, girls. So what happened is we asked you a while ago kung sino mga dark horse players ninyo. But before we even go to that list, can you please describe to us kung ano ang dark horse para sa inyo? Maddie, we'll start with you.
Siguro for me, a dark horse is somewhat an underrated player. Yung hindi masyado nabibigyan ng pansin. So, I'm excited to talk about that today para naman mabigyan natin ng pansin yung mga players na deserving din.
How about you, Mitch? Agree ka ba doon?
Yes, I agree. I think a dark horse player is someone who needs more recognition, of course, and regardless of mga position ganyan, dapat everyone has proper recognition for sure.
All right, now we are going to name all your dark horse players na nabanggit nyo nga sa amin beforehand. So Michelle, we're gonna start with you. We'll start things off with Jonah Sabete from the Santa Lucia Lady Realtors, now with the Petrogas Angels. Nagbabalik sa Petrogas itong si Jonah Sabete. And you know what, Mitch, we know her as a very lethal attacker, but also she can be a little bit inconsistent at times. How do you think she's going to gel with the likes of MJ Phillips and Aiza Maiso Pontillas with the Gas Angels?
I think because she's been with Petrogas for I think 2 years ago. So I think what's going to be for her to come back in her previous squad, and I think her performance in the Santa Lucia squad last PVL was really impressive, and that's why I think she's really one of the dark horse players that everyone should look out for. And of course, like what you said, her hits are very lethal, and I think that's something that I personally really admire about her. And yeah, she's really someone to look out for this coming season.
Mitch, was there a moment that you saw of Jonah anytime recently that thought that, okay, we need to look at her more because not a lot of people are doing that?
Recently, well, I think for me, it's more of how I saw her in the PVL conference last season. I remember watching a Santa Lucia game, and I was really this girl is really solid. She can really hit, and even if she's starting or not for Petrogas, I think it's gonna be an advantage for her to be in Petrogas.
Absolutely. Now, Maddie, let's move on to the next player that you guys mentioned. And this is very interesting. Des Cheng from F2 now in Chocomucho. And I know you know a lot about Chocomucho. Now, how do you think she's going to be integrated in that team? I mean, we all know that Des is an excellent server and an excellent receiver. Do you think she's Coach O's missing piece?
I honestly think she is because she's an all-around player actually. Ang galing niya receive, dumepensa, not to mention she's a leader inside the court and outside. So, and let's not forget her championship mentality. And I honestly can't wait to see her in action this conference.
All right, so we're gonna move on to another Chocomucho player. This time, Mitch, you picked this player, si Tang Ponce. Why do you think she's a dark horse player? At syempre, it's going to be, there's a lot of conversations to be had about yung rotation ng team with Tang coming in.
I think she's a dark horse player. Well, of course, she's gonna be in partners with Ate Den Lazaro. So, yeah, for sure, she's really someone to look out for this coming season. And I think personally also, I admired her ever since UAAP and how she's really a solid libero. So I'm very excited for her debut for the Shokumucho Flying Titans.
I know it with Tang also, she's gonna add a lot of laughter.
Oh,
to
100%.
the Choco Mucho team. I am
100%.
sure. I can see Maddie nodding right now. Anyway, with you naman, Maddie, sabi mo, ang isa pang dark horse, I see Jovi Prado. And much like Jonah Sabete, I feel like Jovi Prado is also a role player and she's also a lethal attacker. And she's very cool, calm, and collected all throughout the game. So, with Rhea Debakulangan as her setter now, do you think she's going to improve even more?
Definitely. Kasi pag magaling yung setter mo, napapagaling lalo yung spiker mo. And napahanga talaga ako kay Ate Jovi since we played against her noong 2018 Open Conference. Kasi I saw the talent and the skill that she has. So, lalo na pag natutukan siya or nabibigyan siya ng more balls ni Ate Rhea, mas mabibigyan siya ng pansin this conference.
No, moving on to another PLDT player, Mitch, you picked si Del Palomata. And with Del, she's the only person in the list that we have here who's part of the national team going to the Southeast Asian Games. But you still named her a dark horse. Why so?
I think kasi starting pa lang, of course, parang she made her debut last year and she's kind of like in the process of really parang reading out her name and how she plays and all that. But yeah, I feel like she needs more recognition kasi I think she deserves it, she's a very, very tall, offensive middle blocker and yeah.
All right, let's go to the last one now. Actually, honorable mention itong dark
Yeah.
horse na to. Now, Maddie, you mentioned si Shaya Adorador of the Cherry Tigo Crossovers. Now, Shaya, she's really steady on defense. Not a lot of points from her last season, pero yun nga, very steady siya on defense. And she really was a key cog in that championship for Cherry Tigo. Now, given, that it was her maiden championship with Cherry last season, do you think it will give her enough confidence to step up for this team again, this conference?
I believe so. Si Shaya, hindi lang sa service yung tulong niya pati sa receive and sa defense and even sometimes sa attacking. But I really believe that she was one of the key players sa championship nila. So, mukhang na-accept niya na talaga yung role niya sa team nila and in return became very beneficial for them.
All right, you guys. So to wrap things up, now you mentioned a lot of players from PLDT and Choco Mucho. So do you think na ang Choco Mucho at ang PLDT ay yung magiging mga dark horse teams this Open Conference? Maddie, let's start with you. Do you think that PLDT will be that dark horse team?
Yes, I believe that they are. Ang dami nilang mga bagong players, mga very talented, very skillful players. So they're really a team to watch out for.
Mitch, you can disagree, ha? Pero what do you think? Do you think that they are dark horses too?
I think parang every team kasi ang daming shake-up within terms of the player.
Yeah.
Very exciting for this season kasi hindi natin alam paano magiging connection ng bawat team because it's like a new team for each team basically. So yeah, it's something to look out for.
Alam mo, Mitch, Maddie, we really appreciate the takes that you gave us and we're excited to see these dark horses, quote-unquote, when the PVL does start and we can't wait to hear more from the both of you. Maraming salamat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, in the meantime, the Philippine National Volleyball Federation officially announces the international training schedule of its national teams. The beach volleyball teams are set to train first in Brisbane, Australia, starting March 15. 5 days later, the men's indoor volleyball team will fly to Qatar, while the women's indoor volleyball team will begin their training in Brazil on April 12, 2022. All roads lead to the much-anticipated Southeast Asian Games in Hanoi, Vietnam, happening in May this year. After the break, Ai Tinsay takes us inside the Cignal HD Spikers training session ahead of the PVL opening tomorrow. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game.
inside the training of your favorite teams. Halikan, chikahin natin ang Cignal HG Spikers. Tara! Coach, sure bump na yung team nyo. Anong aasahan nila mula sa inyo this season?
Well, sa ngayon, I think pinipilit namin maging good, ulit maging better. Kasi siyempre, malapit na yung tournament and knowing naman yung bracket ng sobrang tintinong magiging labanan. But good thing dito, mas challenge kami mag-prepare kasi malaking factor para sa amin yun. And yung team namin ngayon, I guess, maganda yung composition, but hindi siya ganun kadaling buuin, pero paghihirapan namin.
Yes. And secondly, ano naman po magiging identity ng Cignal HG Spikers ngayong PBL?
Well, sa ngayon, siyempre yun nga, pinatitibay namin yung team namin. Hopefully, may balik namin yung dating Cignal na laging nandun sa level na alam nyo talagang kailangan i-respect every game and mag-perform 100%. Then, hopefully, ma-reach namin yung goal namin, but of course, kailangan pagdaanan muna namin yung mga matitinding laro. So,
Guys, anong feeling maging HG Spiker? Luminaw ba na parang HG yung pananaw mo sa buhay?
I think ito yung pinakamasayang part ng volleyball tournament. Kasi during this pandemic, ang daming nangyari. And this time, panibagong team and panibagong journey din. And new beginnings din para sa amin.
And ano naman yung pinakamalaking challenge na napagdaanan niyo ako?
I think ito during pandemic din, kailangan namin mag-bubble training and para maging safe din lahat. At sumunod sa safety protocol. So, I think hindi naman siya challenging pero more on ito talaga yung building ng team namin.
At kamusta naman si Coach Shaq bilang coach?
Si Coach Rock naman, naging coach ko na siya before, so talagang magaan din yung loob ko ni Coach Rock. And training niya, alam ko na rin yung sistema, and yun din, together with my teammates, talaga napapagaan yung sistema namin, and nagiging maayos.
Ses, ready ka na ba sa fast talk natin?
I think I'm ready.
Okay, first color red or color black?
Red.
Training sa umaga or training sa gabi?
Training sa gabi.
One word to describe your teammates.
Strong.
And one word to describe your fans.
Supportive.
And pwede ka mo magbigay ng pinaka-cute mong pabebe post sa fans. Okay. And kunyari, rookie ako at magjo-join ako ng Cignal. Ano yung pinaka-favorite mong volleyball position na tuturo mo sa akin?
I think yung pagiging wing spiker, open spiker, attack.
Ano ba yung attack? Kita nga natin.
No! Ito!
Hindi ko pala kaya gawin. Pero yun, sige, thank you! Ayun, how does it feel to play for Cignal HG again?
Siyempre, it still feels good to be able to play for the Cignal HG Spikers. It's a great opportunity still na para mapakita yung talents namin and yung skills namin, especially sa lahat ng mga pinaghirapan namin for the past months.
And ano yung biggest changes and how did this help you individually and also as a team?
Siguro yung biggest changes talaga definitely are the addition sa team with the veterans sila Ate Riri, Meneses, sila Ate Molina. Malaking bagay siya kasi syempre andun yung experience and at the same time andun din yung leadership nila na malaking tulong and yun, nakikita namin na yung pagiging competitive nila is also giving us yung sense of competitiveness within the team na nagiging malaking impact, improvement namin individually.
Okay, first, color red or color black?
Red.
Training sa umaga or training sa gabi?
Training sa umaga.
One word to describe your teammates.
Teammates, masiyahin.
Awesome! 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 One word to describe your coach. down the line? Cardio or conditioning?
Conditioning.
And if bago ako sa Cignal HD as your new teammate, ano yung tuturo mo sa aking best volleyball position?
Pagiging setter.
Paano ba yung pagiging setter? Yun na to.
Dapat tatlong sayang ka, sabi ni Coach.
Okay, sige. Last but not the least, message mo for your Cignal HD fans.
For all the Cignal HD Spikers fans, thank you for supporting the team ever since. Sana mandyan pa rin kayo in this coming tournament to support us and to cheer on us. Thank you so much.
Thank you! Ate Rachel, how did it feel to play for the team?
Super happy kasi, di ba, nag-rest kami for about half a year. And then nag-prepare din kami during off-season. So excited ako lalo-lalo ng Cignal yung mga teammates.
And what has been the biggest change that helped you develop your morale and also your skills development?
Biggest change, siguro din yung nakapag-training ako sa US. And yung nakapag-prepare kami off-season, nakakapag-bola kami. So yun yung nakikita kong big factor. Okay, no off-season kasi nakapag-training ako sa daddy ni Alohi sa US and with Menlo College. So I'm very happy with the result. And yun, kahit off-season, nagpa-condition ako doon. And nung pagbalik ko sa Philippines, nagtitraining na din sa Cignal.
Okay, first, color red or color black?
Red,
Training sa umaga or training sa gabi?
umaga,
One word to describe your teammates.
awesome.
One word to describe your coach.
Coach, strong.
Okay, if you were to pick conditioning or cardio?
Conditioning.
Only rice or only tulog?
Ali tulog.
Yes. And if you have your favorite mantra or quote, ano yun?
Strike while the iron is hot or don't satisfied with the second best. Always be the best.
Yes. And lastly, your message for your fans.
Message ko sa mga supporters, lalo-lalo na sa supporters ng PBL and ng Cignal, maraming salamat sa inyo. Kasi through ups and downs, nandiyan kayo lagi. And I'm excited na mapanood nyo kami sa TV and live.
And this has been the Global Innovation with the Cignal HD Spikers
Here on the game.
That was Ai Tinsay with the Cignal HD Spikers. Now, when we return, we'll preview the opening matchups and the must-watch players in the PBA Governors Cup playoffs. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Governor's Cup playoffs officially kick off tomorrow with a pair of big matchups at the Big Dome. The Alaska Aces will look to extend their last dance against the twice-to-beat NLEX Road Warriors at 3 p.m., while the TNT Tropang Giga squares off against Barangay Ginebra at 6 p.m. Joining us tonight to help preview the exciting doubleheader is PBA analyst Coach Jason Webb. Coach, welcome to the game. Alam ko, umuo ka lang kasi nalaman mo hindi si Coach Richard Del Rosario yung host. So, again, thank you very much for joining us. NLEX versus Alaska, let's get to it because we don't have a lot of time here. When you talk about NLEX and Alaska, itong Alaska, a lot of emotion riding into this game. Potentially their last game as a franchise going into this one. Ito naman yung NLEX, Cameron Clark, a new import coming in. So many storylines, so many players to watch out for, Coach. Who stands out for you the most?
Well, yeah, for NLEX, we got to figure out if Cameron Clark is going to be the real deal because remember, they are the second seed. But iba yung second seed na to dahil nagpalit sila ng import. So he's going to be the main guy. Then moving over to Alaska, I think as a whole, what you want to look at is the whole Alaska team. I mean, wherever you are, if you've been an Alaska fan at some point in your life, it would be nice if you could watch that game because that might be the very last time that you'd see that uniform, that group in the PBA. So that would be the two things that I'd be looking out for.
Now, Coach, ano po yung magiging keys to winning for both our squads? Ano yung magiging X factor for both these teams?
I think going back, it's still Cameron Clark is the X factor, and
Yeah.
I think Alaska might actually parade a new import as well. I'm
Yeah.
hearing that parang may injury rin si Asha Lu, no? So that's the key. Number one, how are their imports going to perform? Second, is Alaska going to be able to have that inside game working because that's where they've been successful. And for NLEX naman, yung pace nila, will they be able to continue with that pace, the same pace that they had before they changed their import?
So it's going to be an interesting matchup considering the fact that we could see two new imports coming in at the same time trying to make sure that they get the job done on their debut. Now, moving on, let's go to the TNT and Barangay Ginebra matchup. Actually, I was talking to Eli Tenorio just the other day. Sabi niya that nag-alin na siya sa Lady of Manawag just in case going into this matchup with TNT. How do you think Barangay Ginebra will be able to fill that void that is Stanley Pringle and try to overturn a result against TNT wherein the last time they faced off, it didn't go their way at all?
Yeah, I remember these are the same two teams that actually played in the last bubble for the same spot, and it was also twice to beat. Remember also, last time that they played in the All-Filipino, it was the bench of TNT that really made it difficult for Ginebra. So para sa Ginebra, how are they going to match that energy? And that energy actually always comes from Scotty Thompson. Can Scotty be at that high level on a consistent basis na magpapalit-palit yung binabantayan niya, magpapalit yung babantay sa kanya. Pero
Yeah.
importante that he keeps the crowd involved. And at the same time, it's going to be a fact that Justin Brownlee has to be the best player in the game, in the entire game, for Ginebra to be successful.
When you look at TNT, na-mention mo nga yung second unit ng TNT. And in that second unit, actually, Jason Castro comes off the bench. When you look at that group right now, who do you feel that Ginebra needs to control the most just to have a chance to extend the series?
I don't think you can just focus on one guy. People talk about Jason Castro. Remember that Mikey Williams was actually the best player in the previous conference. Now, forget about the individual talent of these guys. It's about making sure na pag pumasok yung second group, na hindi ka may iwan because they're gonna beat you up physically. They're gonna beat you up with speed and defense. Will Ginebra have enough weapons to match that? Especially, like you said, diba? Kulang-kulang yung Ginebra in the entire conference.
Yeah.
Sino pa bang mabubunot ni Coach Tim to match that energy coming from the Talk and Text bench?
Coach Jason, real pleasure having you on the show. We wish we had more time. We're not going to ask you to make a prediction because that'll be too difficult. Really appreciate you. Hope we can have you next time for a longer period of time.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Billy Capistrano.
I'm Paulo De Rosario, and this has been The Game.